A throw by Merton. It is a collision at the plate. And Pierzynski not only bangs into Barrett, bangs onto the plate, and here they go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the Crosstown Baseball Podcast. He is Matt, I'm Kevin, and we're going to get right to it as we have a lot of good stuff to talk about this week. And of course, this week we are going to start with the Cubs as we flip off every week. Some things going on the north side. Matthew Boyd is currently unbeaten in 10 straight starts, and obviously he was injured for a little bit of that. So, he hasn't played this entire season necessarily. But still, that is a great run to see, especially with how injured the Cubs rotation and just pitching in general has been. Thankfully, it sounds like they're starting to get healthy, as healthy as they can. I did see that Daniel Palencia, the closer, should be back soon. Hunter Harvey, a reliever, should be back soon. Edward Cabrera should be back soon. So the Cubs are starting to get some reinforcements. Get some of these guys back. Obviously, Justin Steele still rehabbing. They've said that he likely will not pitch out of the rotation this season, so he will likely be a utility guy in the bullpen, kind of an everything
man, all that spot starter.
Yeah, kind of whatever they need, it sounds like. But he should hopefully be back soon. Speaking of Cubs pitchers, they did say goodbye to one of them this past week, as Jameson Taillon was designated for assignment. So his time with the big league club comes to an end. He will likely be released or traded unless he accepts an assignment to the minors, which I highly doubt at this point. He is in the final year of a 4-year contract that he signed going into the 2023 season. It's a shame. He definitely had good moments last year in the playoffs. He was really good for them when they were down pitchers badly again because they had no Justin Steele or Cade Horton.
It sounds like looking at the stats, I mean, his ERA is close to 6, and it's not been a great season for him. Like you said, with the Cubs getting a little healthier, maybe they felt that now is the right time to move on from him, with reinforcements coming, and hopefully reinforcements not just internally, but trade deadline approaching quickly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he became more expendable, and he was really struggling with giving up the long ball this year. I'm trying to see really quickly on his stats. Just give me 1 second.
Let's 2-6 record with a 5.92 ERA, 68 strikeouts, and a WHIP of 1.36. So it's not great.
He's given up 25 home runs so far this year. He gave up
not a lot of innings pitched.
No, either. And he gave up 24 all of last season.
Yeah. That's just not going to cut it for a team that has playoff hopes right now.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a shame. Unfortunately, his time is coming to an end here. The second overall pick of the 2010 MLB draft by the Pirates, taken 1 pick after Bryce Harper.
Wow.
And 1 pick before Manny Machado.
Jesus. Pitching is so sparse right now around the league. Someone is going to pick him up. I mean, who was it? Was it the A's or someone just signed freaking Dallas Keuchel to a minor league deal? The Diamondbacks, maybe? Like somebody.
Did he really get signed? I did not see that.
Yeah, I just saw it a couple days ago. And
Dallas Keuchel. Oh my God.
Oh, one of my least favorite White Sox players of all time. Amazing how he was really good, and then as soon as they did a sticky band substance, he sucked. Amazing how that works.
That happened to a few guys, I feel like.
If Dallas Keuchel is getting a minor league contract, Jameson's going to be fine. Yeah. Someone's going to pick him up, probably even for an MLB deal. So, it just won't be with the Cubs.
Yeah, I think he's more of a bullpen arm at this point, maybe a long man, maybe a spot starter here and there or an opener. But I think his days as a consistent starter, unfortunately, may be over. I mean, he's been in the league a long time. And he's had some good seasons. But unfortunately, it's no longer going to be here on the north side. So we wish him well in his future endeavors with whatever team he lands on. The Cubs also made a pretty big call up this week, calling up infield prospect James Triantos. He is one of the more highly regarded prospects in the organization. His stat line in AAA this year, he was hitting for a 306 average, 7 homers, 52 RBIs, good enough for a 784 OPS. So he is now with the big league club. Kevin Alcantara, the speedy outfielder, was sent down to AAA again. He's kind of been back and forth all season. And I think I think he needs regular playing time. I think Kevin Alcantara.
Those are good stats.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Alcantara will be a starter for the Cubs next season because I think he'll either replace Ian Happ or Seiya Suzuki. So good to get him those at bats while they can when there's an opportunity. Taking a look at the standings, the Cubs, as of this recording, sit 5.5 games back of the Brewers for first in the AL Central. Still within striking distance, but they definitely need to start closing that gap if they want any hope of capturing the NL Central title. So they're sitting 5.5 games back in that race. In the NL wild card, they have a pretty good cushion. They are sitting 5 games ahead in there. So it looks like, unless something really horrible happens, they should hopefully clinch a playoff spot. But we'll see. There's still 2 months of the season left. The trade deadline is right around the corner, and a lot of teams are going to be making moves. So it could be a very active deadline potentially.
Well, and you don't want Twinkle D and Twinkle Dumb to not make their moves, right, Bruce?
Yeah. Well, Bruce Levine. Oh my God.
Never gonna let that
believe he did that. I'm just like waiting to see a headline that he's been like let go from Marquee and he's like no. I guarantee that's going to happen after this season.
I don't know how you could stay in that job after that, but
I mean that's got to be so awkward, right? Like they know that he was talking about them, and he still works there. Just crazy.
Wild.
Just crazy. Over the past week since we last since we last recorded, the Cubs lost 2 of 3 to the AL Central Detroit Tigers. They won 2 out of 3 at the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they've won the first 2 in St. Louis against the Cardinals. A great game on what's today? Wednesday. On Tuesday, Alex Bregman and Nico Horner both recording 4 hits each in what ended up being a Cubs rout of the rival Cardinals, who are suddenly struggling quite a bit, and they are under 500 for the first time this season.
Wow, I actually didn't realize they were struggling that much. I knew they were not, quite as hot as they were, but to be under 500 is a big turnaround for them. But like that's kind of what people were expecting at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think they're, kind of regressing to the mean. I think, let's see, let me look at the standings really quickly. They currently sit 3 games back of the final wild card spot, which is currently held by the Phillies, but ahead of them, they have the Nationals, the Marlins, the Pirates, and the Padres.
Wow. I mean, and all those teams have been playing better than them as of late. So, yeah. Boy, these wild card races in both leagues are going to be pretty bloody.
I mean, I'm just taking a quick look. Let's see. There are, in the AL wild card, there are 6 teams within 5 games of the final wild card spot. In the NL, there are 6 teams within 5.5 games the final wild card spot. So yeah, the wild card races they're going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch.
It is.
And then taking a look at their upcoming schedule, obviously they will finish a 4-game set in St. Louis against the Cardinals. And then the Cubs will return home to Wrigley to face the Yankees as they come to town. Obviously,
the Yankees get a nice, easy schedule. They just get to stay in Chicago.
Yeah, that's true. They just go from the south side to the north side because they're playing the White Sox right now.
That's pretty good for them.
Yeah. That's very convenient that the schedule makers did that for them.
Yeah, to look out for the poor old, won't somebody think of the New York Yankees?
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Right.
I can't help myself. But that is where the Cubs stand currently. They are currently playing right now against the Cardinals. As of this recording, it's 0-0 in the top of the third. So we'll keep an eye on that as we continue to record this episode. But that's it for the Cubs for this week. So now I will turn it over to Matt to give us a recap on the White Sox.
Well, thanks, Kev. So like we said, the White Sox are actually currently playing the Yankees after losing the first two, and I can say with all the cynicism in my heart, looking up at my TV screen right now, that they were losing 4-0 in the first inning. So that's great to hear. But before that, other bad news: Kyle Teel is back to the IL with an injured ankle. Now that is bad news. That being said, when that injury happened, I don't know if you saw the video, Kevin.
I did.
It looked way worse than what it was. I mean, it looked like a torn ACL, like a fractured, shattered ankle. So for it to just be an ankle sprain, and even there being a possibility of him coming back this year, oh my God, that was the biggest relief. Teel hasn't been amazing since coming off the IL. But he is far better than Edgar Caro and Drew Romo have been. And I actually believe, and I forgot to add it to this, the White Sox just today signed veteran catcher Eric Hassey to a minor league deal, probably to give a little bit of backup there. So my hope is that Teel can make a speedy recovery. He has been injury prone. That being said, all three injuries to land him on IL have been separate. It was a hamstring pull. And then on his rehab assignment, he did something to his knee with a spike, and then now it's his ankle. So it sucks. It sucks that he's having this year. That being said, I'm happy that it's not like this nagging injury on like one specific part of his body that's just not allowing him to like recover, because that is obviously a huge fear of, especially of catchers. You want Kyle Teel to be able to have this great career. So hopefully he comes back and is able to be productive in the stretch towards the playoffs. Murakami hit 2 home runs in, I believe it was Friday's game, which was actually his bobblehead night. That was great to see. He struggled a little bit since getting off the IL and participating in the home run derby. He was kind of starting to find himself a little bit, get more on base, a lot of walks, a couple doubles, and then hitting the 2 home runs was a good sight. So we're going to hope that he can, get back to his first half. We won 2 or 3 against the Rangers, which is great. We lost 2 or 3 against the Astros, and now we lost the first 2 against the Yankees. We're still 4-0. Currently losing game 3, game 4 tomorrow. This is a big stretch for this team. It is only okay because the Guardians have also been playing bad. So we are still 1.5 games ahead of the Guardians for first in the AL Central. Even if we were to give that up, we would still be in a really good wildcard position. So I think the Sox are still going to be buyers. There was a report out that they do want to add. They are going to be aggressive about adding, but they are not going to throw away the future on rentals. And I think that's what you have to do. I would love for them to make the playoffs. I would love for them to make a deep playoff run, because anything can happen in the playoffs. That being said, I think personally there are too many holes in this team to be really confident about a deep playoff run.
I don't think this year is the year to sell the farm.
No, I think this is the beginnings of a wonderful era of White Sox baseball. And I think Chris Getz knows this. Everyone's surprised that the White Sox are this good. I mean, remember our season predictions? I think I was thinking 71 and 91, and that would have been, a 10-game improvement over last year. Yeah. That's great. Now we're talking about, a winning season, a playoff season. That it's incredible. But especially these last few weeks, have proved that there are a lot of holes in this team. And even right now, they're down 4-0. And the starting pitcher tonight was Davis Martin, who in the first half was our rock star, our ace, and he has really struggled in the last few weeks. Now, Sean Burke has stepped up, and Anthony Kay has been okay, and Eric Fetty's been okay, but I don't know. We did require a pitcher from the Pirates, Jose. I actually don't know his last name.
Urquidy, I think.
Urquidy.
I don't know.
He is 100% a reclamation project. He has not been great. He's just a backup right now. I think it's our first quote unquote deadline move. So like it's kind of being put under a bit more of a microscope than it usually would be. But we'll see if the Sox see something. I trust. I can't believe I'm saying this because I haven't said this about a White Sox front office in 20 years. But like I trust the front office to identify these targets now. I like Ryan Fuller with hitting. I like Brian Bannister when it comes to he's the director of pitching. So if they think they see something in him, great. I'm hoping they do. So like I said, they're currently hosting the last two games of the Yankees series. Game tonight as of recording, game tomorrow at 1:00, which is a Wednesday, and then we will be in Florida this weekend to take on the Rays, another good team. We are really bad against the AL East right now, but the AL East is also the only it's the only good division in the AL right now. It's probably still the best division in baseball. And yeah, we have the Rays. I think we take on the Red Sox again soon. Like this is going to be a tough stretch. And if we can still come out of this stretch, either in first place or one or two games behind, we're going to be okay. And again, it's also because the Guardians have been not great right now too. So, whoever they're playing, I'm rooting for you. Let's take them down. But that is the White Sox right now. Oh, one other thing is we optioned Junior Perez back down to the minors, and we activated Emerson Pereira off the IL, who is a welcome addition. He's been off and on injured, but he brings some good veteran presence off the bat and another outfielder. So, and I believe Austin Hayes is close to coming back as well. So we might get some internal reinforcements as well as external ones. So we'll see. But
I know this is a Kenny Williams thing, but that can be just as good as an acquisition sometimes.
God, I don't remember who that original quote, like who he was referring to. It might have been John Danks in like 2012.
John Danks.
There's a great quote about Kenny Williams, and it's like, "What about Danks?" And it's like referring to like, are you going to add more pieces? And I think he was like, "What about Danks? He's a piece." Like, and oh, Kenny, it's funny. Rick Hahn has appeared on like a couple like shows here and there and talked about some things. Kenny Williams has been just completely MIA for the last 3 years since being fired. And you know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think he probably had enough. I'm sure, and I think everyone had enough of him.
I think it's incredible, Kevin, and I even put like Joe Madden in this category, and you can even say Jed Hoyer as well. But like, as Chicago baseball fans growing up, you would think that anyone to be a part of bringing a World Series championship to Chicago for White Sox fans, for Cubs fans, would just be forever enshrined in praise and glory, and they can do no wrong. But I mean, as far as Kenny Williams is concerned, like, listen, I will always thank him for 2005. I think he had a decent run from like 2005 to, even the 2012 team wasn't that, it was a playoff contender, but like just bad decisions after bad decisions. And he was still screwing us over, right before he's the one who he went over Rick Hahn's head and traded Jake Berger from the White Sox. Like, he was the one who personally just awful. And like, honestly, as you know, Jerry Reinsdorf is loyal to a fault. He is way too loyal. But so for him to fire both of those guys mid-season, you have to really screw up an organization. And they did.
I think he overstayed his welcome. And I think that's something that Theo Epstein realized that would happen to him if he didn't leave when he left after the 2020 season.
Yeah.
He wasn't there for, breaking up the team. That was all Jed Hoyer. I think that really affected Kenny. I think in due time, Kenny Williams will be looked at more positively, but it's still too fresh. All the bad things he did after 2005.
Yeah. It's I think it was like 2010 or 2011 or something. There was a big rumor that the Toronto Blue Jays wanted to hire him, and Reinsdorf, of course, blocked it. I'm like, boy, if he would have just left to go to the Blue Jays, I mean, he would just be a White Sox legend right
Right.
now.
Right.
And yeah, and it's same with Joe Madden, right? Joe Madden, what was 2019 his last season or 2018? Like
it was 2019 because Ross's was 21st was 2020.
but like by the time Joe Madden left the Cubs, I mean, he was pretty ostracized by the fan base.
Hey, that phrase, that famous quote, right? You either die a hero or you live long enough to be the villain.
Thank you, Batman. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So
Yeah.
listen, I just think it's quit while you're ahead, everyone. The next people to bring this city a World Series championship, just think that over. Because
you know what's interesting? You could say that about another famous GM that served under Jerry Reinsdorf.
Jerry
Is
Krause.
Jerry Krause of the Chicago Bulls.
I don't know much about other sports besides baseball, but I know that.
Yes.
Because I think, especially when Hahn and Williams were being fired, or like in the rumors of like leading up to that, Jerry Krause was being brought up a lot.
Oh yeah.
And then of course the whole Michael Jordan documentary.
The Last Dance basically just kind of shit on Jerry Krause.
Listen, as a Sox fan, there is, as we've talked about before, there is an off ramp right now to the Jerry Reinsdorf era, or away from the Jerry Reinsdorf era, and that makes me very happy. As soon as Justin Ishaba could take full control of this team, I will be a very happy man. So, anyway, that was a tangent. That was so we digress, but that is it for the Sox for me. We're gonna hope that it's still 4-0, and we're gonna hope we can come back and win this game. Still a lot of baseball, but you'll know by the recording tomorrow.
Let's see. It's still 0-0 in the Cubs game in the fourth. Okay. So no score there yet. But that's a good report for the Sox, and I'm always down to trash Jerry Reinsdorf. So we can always go on that tangent anytime we want.
That's something all Chicago can embrace and get along with, right?
Yes, exactly. Everyone can get behind that. Awesome. Okay, well that will do it for the White Sox for this week. So let's turn to the rest of MLB. Starting off with the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, Jeff Kent, Andrew Jones, and Carlos Beltran took their rightful place in Cooperstown. All three inducted this past weekend. All great players. I really enjoyed watching all of them in their careers, and it's interesting that we're getting to the point where like all of the Hall of Fame inductees, we remember like their entire careers.
Yeah, this one made me feel pretty old. I mean, especially like Carlos Beltran, because like he played for a long time, so like it doesn't seem like that long ago. It's so funny. The White Sox made a post about Andrew Jones and like even me as a diehard Sox fan, like I forgot he played on the White Sox. I mean, he was just like, I'm really happy he made the Hall of Fame because he was one that was so good for a long time. And then because he loved to play, he kept playing. He played for the Sox. He played for the Yankees, I think. And he just was a shell of his former self. So like the last memory I have of Andrew Jones is him not being very good. But he really was. I mean, he really does deserve, this Hall of Fame. And Jeff Kent was always so great. And we've talked about Carlos Beltran's induction. As a player, he absolutely deserves it. I think what his induction does is leave no excuse whatsoever for steroid users to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Carlos Beltran, as good of a player as he was, and as much as he deserves it, he is 100% certified cheater in the game of baseball. Proven facts. So he's in the Hall of Fame. It's not the same type of cheating as steroids, but it is kind of arguably worse in my opinion. So he is in the Hall of Fame. It is now time for Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, Manny Maria. The list goes on and on and on to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jeff Kent, did you know he was on the 92 Blue Jays?
That's wild. No, I did not know
Yeah,
that.
that's where he debuted. He debuted with the Blue Jays that early, which I did.
Did he
I
get a
had
ring
no
with
idea.
them?
Yeah, because they
Wow,
won that
that's
year.
awesome.
I think he was on them in '93 too.
Wow.
Before moving on to like the Giants and the Astros. Him and Carlos Beltran were teammates for half of a season in 2004 before Beltran would later leave to sign with the New York Mets. And they all had great careers. I'm very happy for all of them. And now I do have the 2027 Hall of Fame ballot pulled up. Some notable first time players who are eligible and not necessarily they're not going to necessarily get elected, but these are just some names that are noteworthy. Jake Arrieta.
Won't happen. Sorry.
No, no, it's not going to happen. Oh God, Trevor Bauer, roast.
Uh, no.
Not
I
a
mean,
chance.
well, that just makes me happy that it's been 5 years since he last played in Major League Baseball, so he's technically eligible for the Hall of Fame. But
There's
no, he will not be making the Hall of Fame.
let's see, we got Starlin Castro on
Will not.
here. He's not going to make it. Adam Eaton.
No, no.
Uh, I'm just naming like former Cubs and Sox for first time. Let's see. Dexter Fowler. Wasn't Todd Frazier on the White Sox?
Oh yeah, Todd Frazier's on
Yep.
2016-17 teams. Yeah.
Let's see. John Lester will appear for the first time. He could
he
get
will
in.
make it.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll be first ballot, but I think he'll get in eventually.
Now, will he go in as a Cub or a Red Sox? I think he's going to go in as a Red Sox.
Probably. Because he won World Series with them and threw a no-hitter with them.
Yeah, and he was terrific on the Cubs and got them a World Series, but he's a Boston Red Sox.
Oh, here we go. Here's a potential first-time inductee next year. Buster Posey.
Oh, he will be first ballot.
He'll be first ballot probably. Pablo Sandoval. Let's see. Pedro Strop. Yeah, those are the notable names. And then the notable names for the returning players. Let's see what we got here. So looking at the ballots from 2026, Chase Utley had just under 60%. Andy Pettit and Felix Hernandez had just under 50%. And then
listen, I mean, we can do a whole episode about my frustrations with Hall of Fame voting, and that all the guys you just named 100% deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but these baseball writers don't want to make them first ballot Hall of Famers because that's a sacred thing. It's stupid. Like
Mark Burley came in at 20% in his 7th year on the ballot.
He's growing a little bit. The case for him is growing. I'm not 100% convinced he's going to make it on on this ballot. It wouldn't surprise me if he's a Veterans Committee down the line. I mean, there are Hall of Famers with very similar stats to him. There are even current players that people are considering Hall of Fame pitchers that have very, very similar stats to Burley. I think he will make it one day, and it will be rightly deserved, in my opinion. My very biased.
You know who I'm surprised is on here still is Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah,
he was good. Like he could be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, well, and like even again, like Chase Utley being not a first ballot. Like I think it's just these baseball writers like trying to preserve something in their own minds. I really hate the Hall of Fame voting process, and I think
it's the Baseball Hall of Fame process.
And the anonymous person that did not include Ichiro on their ballot to make him a unanimous Hall of Famer. I don't think it should be anonymous. I think if you're going to do something like that, we need to see who it is, and you need to be kicked out of baseball. Right?
Well, I think that's why they shouldn't be anonymous, because writers do stupid things like that, and because they know that it's like, oh well, if I don't release it, no one's going to know.
Right.
But that should absolutely, yeah, I totally agree. But we could have a debate all episode about the Hall of Fame and all of the BS that they do. Yeah. So congratulations.
Congrats to Jeff Kent, Andrew Jones, and I hope Carlos Beltran's induction is the pathway to other deserving players getting in.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. Looking around MLB some more, well, technically not really MLB, but the Savannah Bananas paid a visit to Wrigley Field this past weekend, sold out all 3 games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Friday, the special guest was 2016 World Series MVP Ben Zobrist. On Saturday, the guests were former Cubs pitcher Kerry Wood and 2016 World Series champion and former Cubs manager David Ross. And on Sunday, the guest was actually there were two, Henry Rowan-Gardner, and then on the other team was Rick Sutcliffe, who appeared for the Firefighters briefly. I did not go. Yeah, our listeners may not know this, but you and I went to the Savannah Bananas game in 2025. That was at Rate Field where the White Sox play. It's a fun experience. It's different. A lot more fun for the kids for sure. Definitely one of those things as an adult that like maybe you do it once and I don't know if you really want to do it again. But it's cool.
It is cool. And yeah, I mean, we can talk about our experience last year. Like I completely agree with you that like if I was ever going to go again, it would be like if I had a kid who wanted to go or like my wife saw videos of the choreography of them dancing and she's like, oh, that's the baseball game I want to go to. I don't want to go to any of these other ones. But what I do appreciate about the Bananas whenever they're in a city is to pull out, like you said, like those Cubs heroes. I mean, the Henry Rowan-Gardner thing is hysterical. You sent me the video of them recreating the pitch. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I also love Kerry Wood, and I'm so glad he made an appearance. Last year, of course, the highlight for me was Mark Burley coming out and then AJ Pierzynski coming out. And so I was able to watch Mark Burley pitch to AJ Pierzynski one more time in my life. That was incredible. So the Bananas do really make an effort to like honor the real baseball fans that are in the crowd for the home teams. Like it's so I really do appreciate them. Then it's innocent, it's fun, it's not gonna ever take over Major League Baseball. And so I don't remember who it is, but like someone on ESPN or
Michael Wilbon from Pardon the Interruption.
So you saw that. Like, do you even want to talk about the Bananas?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and that to me, and like, yes, it is not baseball. It's not like you don't expect it to be baseball. Like it's similar. It's the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Yeah. Like, and you know what? You know what's fun? Like I actually like the rule of that if a fan catches a foul ball, it's an out. Like I don't really ever want that in Major League Baseball, but that was kind of fun.
Apparently, it has to be a clean catch for it to count. Also,
yeah,
like they can't like bobble it. Like,
okay,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the experience. I think it's something that if the Bananas or whoever is in town at your home team stadium, it's worth going to just experience it. It's a lot of fun, and then they're probably going to throw some like old legends at you to make it really exciting
And the tickets really aren't that expensive either. They're pretty affordable.
No, but you just have to get them.
Yeah, getting them is a whole other story.
Yeah, they're very in demand. So yeah, if you don't know, so Kevin and I both entered a lottery last year to be able to like get the opportunity to purchase Bananas tickets. We both did enter it again this year, just out of, it's like, oh yeah, well, they're here again. Let's go. We both did not get the opportunity. So you have to, it's kind of random, but yeah, I recommend it. And it's innocent, and anyone who has a stick up their butt about it can pull that stick out, please and thank you.
Yeah, Michael Wilbon.
Yeah.
Could stick out. But no, you're right.
In fact, our all-star this year, one of our all-stars, Tristan Peters for the White Sox, is a former Savannah Banana.
That is true.
So there are some legit players on those teams.
Isn't it? That's wild that he went from the Bananas to an MLB All-Star in like 5 years. That's crazy.
Amazing.
Yes, but very cool. Some other notes from around the league. Lance McCullers, who was recently acquired by the Milwaukee Brewers, has already been designated for assignment. So his career comes to a quick end with the Brewers. I think he's done.
Yeah, and you and I were texting about this week, and this is what all the baseball thought that the main trade piece of this trade was McCullers, and the Brewers found something that they can fix and maybe get him back. No, it was a salary dump by the Astros, and the Brewers wanted I forget the other player's name, but they wanted that player. So you know what? McCullers was a great pitcher. I will remember him giving the Sox a lot of trouble in the 2021 ALDS. So again, kind of like Jameson Taillon, someone might pick him up pitching for a minor league deal. Depends if he wants to. So he might not be done, but a contender like the Brewers is not going to waste their time on him apparently. So okay,
yeah, he's probably close to done at least.
Yeah.
Ronald Acuna also activated from the injured list, so he returns for the Braves. That's the type of return from the injured list that's like equivalent to a trade.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah. Then they've been doing okay without him, but it's got to feel real good to have him back.
Absolutely. And then the trade deadline, we are 5 days away as of this recording. It should be pretty active. It'll be on August 3rd, which is a Monday. I expect the Cubs to be in the market definitely for pitching. I don't think they necessarily need anything in terms of hitting, but they absolutely have to acquire at least one starting pitcher. Obviously, the big prize in that regard is Tarek Skubal, who actually earlier today, made what could very well be his final start for the Detroit Tigers. He notched his 1,000th career strikeout in the game. His name has been thrown out there a lot. He will be a free agent at the end of the season. I don't know if the Cubs are going to be willing to pay a price for someone like that, but I do think they will be in on some of these higher level starting pitchers.
I wonder what the price really is going to be. I mean, it's going to be a 2-month rental for whoever gets it. First of all, the Sox are not going to get it. The Tigers are just not going to trade their star pitcher to the White Sox. Like, it's just not like it's not going to happen. So we seem to say this every year about like it's going to take a lot to get these guys, but like when it really is only a rental, because like he doesn't have any club options, no, not even a player option. I don't think like it's going to take a couple good prospects, but like I don't know if the price is going to be like as high as what people might think it is. So I wouldn't count the Cubs out, and I also wouldn't count out the other 20 teams that need starting pitching. So yeah, the Tigers would be stupid not to trade him. You don't want another Shohei Ohtani Angel situation.
I've also seen the Cubs linked to Freddie Peralta.
That would be a good one.
That would be a good one. I saw the Cubs and Sox both linked to the same pitcher, but I can't remember who it is now.
I think it was Clay Holmes.
Yeah, that could be.
Mets, and then Reed Detmers for the Angels is another
one. Oh, it was Reed Detmers. That's who it was.
Yeah. Listen, both Cubs and Sox need pitching, and just like many other teams, kind of like the Sox, they're not incredibly desperate for hitting. With Kyle Teel, it wouldn't like, and I know they added a catcher on a minor league deal today, but like it wouldn't surprise me if they maybe target somebody, but I'm not sure who that would be really. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have another outfielder. So there are holes, but I mean, starting pitching and bullpen help are the most dire needs right now for the White Sox, the Cubs, and it seems like every other contending team. So if you have a starting pitcher, you are on a non-contending team, I'm sure your phone is being blown up all day, every day right now.
Yeah, there's a very high probability that you get traded within the next week. So
you and I are going to do an episode the night of the trade deadline, so after it ends. So hopefully we're going to have some fun things to talk about.
Yes, we should have plenty to talk about on our next episode. We will record it after the trade deadline occurs on Monday, August 3rd. So stay tuned for that, which should be a good episode. We'll have plenty to discuss and see who improved the most and who potentially got worse. So that'll be fun. So now on that note, let's turn to our baseball at the movies segment for this week. This week, we are looking at the movie Fever Pitch. Fever Pitch was released in 2005. It stars Drew Barrymore as Lindsay, Jimmy Fallon as Ben, and Jack Keller as Al. When Ben Reitman, Jimmy Fallon, a young teacher, begins dating pretty businesswoman Lindsay Meeks, Drew Barrymore, the two don't seem to have a lot of the same interests, but they fall in love regardless. Their romance goes well until baseball season begins, and Lindsay soon realizes that Ben is completely obsessed with the Boston Red Sox. Though she tries to understand Ben's passionate team loyalty, eventually it threatens to end their otherwise happy relationship. And one thing I do find very interesting about this movie is that the ending of this movie had to basically be rewritten because as they were filming it, the Red Sox were marching to their first World Series in 86 years. So on October 27th, 2004, the finale of this film was shot on location at the old Busch Stadium in St. Louis during Game 4 of the 2004 World Series between the Red Sox and the Cardinals. After the last play of the game in the bottom of the ninth inning, during the Red Sox celebration, stars Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon were filmed also celebrating together on the field, with the Fox broadcast also showing both of them. Rewrites by Peter Farrelly and Bobby Farrelly had to be done immediately following the World Series Game 7 clinch or the Game 7 clincher of the ALCS against the New York Yankees to include the historic 2004 Boston Red Sox postseason. Drew Barrymore was quoted as saying in one of the featurettes on the DVD, quote, "You don't get to shoot your film at the World Series with a team that hasn't won in 86 years. That has this legendary curse on them, so to speak." And as for how it fared amongst the critics and the audiences, it received a 66 critic score and a 60 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So I have seen this movie several times. It's cute. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites. It is more of a rom-com with baseball, I would say. But obviously, baseball is a big theme throughout the movie, and it is definitely entertaining. I really like Drew Barrymore. Jimmy Fallon is not like the most amazing actor, but I think he does okay in this
prefer
movie.
him as an actor than I do as a talk show host a lot of the time.
That's fair.
Truthfully.
Yeah,
I think he was
that's
more
fair.
likable in this movie than he has been on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But it's well done. I think it's funny. There are some really good scenes where he's trying to avoid hearing what the score of the Red Sox game is.
Yeah.
Pretty much
the lobster
everything.
fingers are funny. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much everything in the movie except for the Red Sox like massive comeback against the Yankees in that one scene actually did happen. So they did keep it pretty true to what happened during the 2004 season. And obviously, like they weren't gonna, this wasn't the original ending at the World Series, but the opportunity struck.
You can't be making a movie about the Boston Red Sox during the 2004 season and not adjust. And even though I'd argue the ending of the movie actually kind of undermines like kind of some of the theme. Like one of the first things like his uncle says to him as a kid is like, "They're gonna break your heart, kid." Like,
well, I think that's kind of the idea. Then they don't break his heart finally by the end of the movie. But no, it's a good movie. I think it's a decent cast. Besides Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon, really not a lot of big names in this movie.
except
But I
baseball
think
players.
yeah, besides the baseball players, you do see
Johnny
like a
Damon's
cameo.
butt gets a mention at one point.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore does also hide behind him in the outfield when she's like running towards home plate. So that's cool to see that the real teams, the real players. And I think I can relate to this movie because I mean I love baseball. It's always been one of my passions. So like there were times watching this where I was like, yeah, like that would be me. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
So while it's not the best movie, it is entertaining. As far as my rating for it, I think I would give this like, I don't know, like the 3.25 Italian beefs. Like it's not great, but it's a good watch. It keeps you entertained. And I think as a baseball fan, I just appreciate it for that.
Yeah. It's funny looking at like the 60% on your Rotten Tomatoes and everything. It's like that makes total sense, this being released in the mid 2000s. I think if something kind of this charming and funny were released now, would be received a lot better because we're just not getting movies like this now, at least not ones that are absolutely terrible. I watched this with my wife, and we first of all we love the Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler rom-coms with 50 First Dates, Wedding Singer, and so like this almost feels like even though it's not Adam Sandler. And I actually think I don't actually think Adam Sandler would have fit very well into this movie. I was kind of trying to imagine him in this movie instead of Jimmy Fallon, and I actually think Jimmy Fallon does a pretty good job. I could have like also imagined like a Paul Rudd type guy too.
I can see that.
It's so funny. So this is the first year since my wife and I have been married and living together that the White Sox have been good. So she is not to the extreme that Drew Barrymore has to go through, at least I hope not. She's kind of going through this with me right now. And we definitely made some connections while watching it. I'm definitely watching more games. I have maybe a couple more White Sox apparel and memorabilia hanging around now than I did in the last few years. And so that was kind of funny to watch. Now, I would never do something as crazy as turn down a trip to Paris, to go to a White Sox game. But it was it kind of made this movie really work for me. And she really liked it. First of all, this Drew Barrymore rom-coms is like one of her favorite genres of film, pretty much. So like this really worked. I like the having a passion versus letting the passion like overtake every other aspect of your life theme. Because Jimmy Fallon's character is kind of an idiot, and like I would act like that. Like, yeah, if I had not missed a White Sox game in 23 years, and I agree to miss one game, and it's Mark Burley's no-hitter, perfect game or something, yeah, I'd be pissed too. But there's a lot of scenes where you side with his character, and there's a lot of scenes where you side with her character. So I actually think they work really well. And then the ending is really cute, and it's very rom-com-y, and it's her running across the field to prevent him selling the ticket. It's very cute. I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it far more than I remembered enjoying it. But I think I'm just at the right place in my life to be enjoying this movie right now.
I feel like this was like the height of Drew Barrymore rom-coms, because this was right around 50 First Dates.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Duplex?
Yeah, Duplex is great. She did another one with Sandler a few years later called Blended. That's kind of fun. It's so funny because it's like actually now like she doesn't really do much outside of host her own talk show. So this movie stars two talk show hosts, which is just kind of funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I don't know. It works. It works for me, and it works. I don't think it's for everyone, but I think if you watch this at the right time in your life, it really hits well. And watching it with I probably liked it more watching it with my wife and making these connections than I would. So you gave it 3.25. I'm going to give it a solid 4 out of 5, because of what it is, and kind of like what we've done in the past. Like, I think it's a 4 out of 5 Italian Beefs as like a movie, a rom-com. As a baseball movie, I'll give it like a 3.25. Like, baseball is not the focus. I mean, I love all the Bostonisms. I love, it really does feel like a love letter to like Red Sox fandom and everything. I also I don't know, man, like if you had Cubs season tickets, would you go to 81 games?
Well, it's funny you say that because I was a season ticket holder in 2019. I split them. I split them with 3 other people. No, I wouldn't. Unless I lived in the city near Wrigley and I could just like walk over there.
But I did live near Wrigley, and I was thinking if I was a Cubs fan or if I lived right near Rate, like that is a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so when Jimmy Fallon's like he's in a big boy relationship, and she's inviting him like, hey, come to my dad's birthday dinner, and he's like, I can't, I have a Red Sox game. Like that's where it's like, okay, man, like it's time to grow up a little bit.
If it were reality, he probably would have gotten dumped.
Well, and like in the beginning of the movie, all of her like very cynical and stupid friends are like, oh, he sounds great. There has to be a reason that he's single. Which is like well, isn't there also a reason Drew Barrymore's single too? But they don't talk about that.
No, they don't. They don't. I do find
yeah.
the scene funny where like she's describing him to her dad, and then Sports Center comes on, and he's
That's
like
a really funny
freaking
one.
out. Yeah,
That's a really funny one, and that was like that's like a good scene because it's the first moment where she like really sees like the crazy fandom in him. But like, yeah, I think like again, there are reasonable things on his side, but like, yeah, like you can't tell like you have to be able to like have more time than spend 81 nights a year
yeah,
at Fenway Park, you know.
yeah. And
Um
I love baseball. I
Me
do,
too.
but that is so much baseball. That's too much baseball.
It's too much baseball, and there are people that do it. I mean, you see interviews on broadcast like, oh yeah, I haven't missed a Cubs game, I haven't missed a Sox game in 11 years. I'm like,
Yeah,
listen, more power to you, awesome job. I'm gonna go have a life. Like
yeah,
I love baseball and I love watching it. I have it on in the background right now, but like, yeah. So I get Drew Barrymore's character is like, I want this guy to be my husband maybe and be the father to her children and everything. Like, and she's like literally working on her laptop at the game, and he gets upset with that. Like,
and then she gets nailed by a foul ball right in the
that's
face.
such a funny scene because just like how no he doesn't react to it because he's like reacting to the foul ball like being caught, but like no one else in the crowd is like checking in on her either.
Yeah,
It's just slumped it. That's a really funny scene.
it is. It is.
Anyway, yeah, it's a fun movie. What if for those out there who have, especially like girlfriends, spouses, boyfriends, anything that like are not super into baseball, and you are, it's a fun one to watch with them
Yeah.
because it kind of gets the conversation flowing a little bit. It's fun.
Yeah. Do you have Cleveland Guardians toilet paper?
No, but I totally should. At least I don't have Cubs toilet paper.
That's true. Yeah, you better not. I did
Oh,
buy someone as a birthday gift once St. Louis Cardinals toilet paper.
see, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
See, the Sox don't have like listen, Yankees Red Sox is one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports, right? And listen, Cubs and Cardinals have a great rivalry. Cubs and Sox have a great rivalry. It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same.
Although the Yankees Red Sox like was way better when we were in
Oh,
like middle school, high school.
yeah. I mean, you know, when because of the Yankees like absolute dominance in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then the Red Sox to do their comeback in '04 and the Aaron Boone, like, I mean, yeah, you can't.
A-Rod almost going to the Red Sox, but then going
Right.
to the
You
Yankees.
can't beat it. You couldn't beat
Yeah.
it. So yeah, I don't think there's a team I would like go out of my way to like have toilet paper with. Maybe like the specific 2017 Astros.
The 2017 with a picture of a trash can on it.
Right, exactly. So maybe that's what I would do. But anyway, fun movie, and that was a fun watch, and I do recommend it. It's a good time, and it's very, very 2000s. I mean, one of the first scenes of the movie is Jimmy Fallon driving those kids, and they're like asking him to turn up the radio, and they hold their cell phones up to record a ringtone.
That's so true.
Yeah, and
My
many
God.
mentions of like the Devil Rays and the Oakland A's. It's like it's a good time capsule movie.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It kind of gives you a glimpse of like what it was like to be a baseball fan back then,
Yeah,
before, having smartphones. But yes, good movie. Definitely recommend watching it. But it's not an amazing movie. So, just keep the expectations tempered,
yeah.
is what I would say.
Honestly, like if you've
So,
seen a movie like 50 First Dates, you know what to expect.
yeah,
It's a very similar type of movie.
very similar archetype for Drew Barrymore, I'd say, in those movies. Awesome. Well, that's this week's Baseball at the Movies. Next week, we are going to take a look at Hardball. Very excited for that one. Obviously, it takes place in
Very
Chicago.
different movie.
Very different movie.
Very
Yes.
different movie.
Yes, we're going to be getting much more dramatic next week, but
Jeez.
stay tuned for that. Starring Keanu Reeves, it is a very good. I think it's a really good movie. Definitely touches on some hard stuff, but we'll talk about that more next week. But that will do it for this week's episode. We greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. If you haven't already, please make sure to give us a follow, like, subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. You can also give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram at Crosstown Baseball Podcast for everything. Until next week, we will be back. He's Matt. I'm Kevin. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And you've been listening to the Crosstown Baseball Podcast. And remember, as always, go Cubs.
Go Sox. See you at the trade deadline.